Are you interested in stamping but don't know where to start? Or are you confused by all the different products out there? Stay tuned to have your questions answered. Hi crafty people, and welcome to my channel. This is Ellen with EGI Designs. Today I'm so excited to bring you the very first official class of my Crafty Classes program. This is a beginner basics class. In this class, I will explain about the types of stamps available, as well as give a little bit of history on stamping. So let's get started. When you think of stamping, you probably think of these old school with the wooden block to, you put it in the ink and then you put it on the paper. And you probably, when you were younger, even may have made a stamp out of a potato and use that in like kindergarten or things like that. But the basic definition of stamping is putting a mark on an object by pushing into it or printing on it. So it's either putting printing on it or pushing into the paper. So the first types of stamps actually didn't use ink. They were carved things that pushed symbols into clay, and that was back in 5000 BC in ancient Mesopotamia. So these types of stamps were used to verify authenticity of correspondence and things like that. In the time of kings, they had special seals for their kingdoms, and some people wore rings that actually had their seal in their ring so they could carry it with them all the time. In Asia, they used woodblock printing, which they kind of look similar to these types of stamps, but the images were actually carved into the wood, and then they would ink the wood and then transfer that to paper or fabric. And then in the 15th to the 19th century, Europe uses technology to print what they called woodcut books. So back in 1839, Charles Goodyear if that sounds familiar to you, that is Goodyear Tires, the founder of that, and he was able to develop vulcanized rubber on accident. But when he found that out, they were able to start using rubber for many other applications. So then in about 1864, the first rubber stamp was created. And at that time it was the rubber stamp connected to wood, just like this, and used then. So over the years, rubber stamp technology has gotten better and better and better. So you can, instead of just very basic, you can do deeply etched and detailed stamps. So these type are called peg stamps. This is kind of a cool set because you can click these together to make a word, and then you put it in the ink and then stamp it on your paper. And then you have ones that just have sentiments. You have backgrounds, you little fun kitties, hearts, things like this. But these are difficult to store. This takes up a lot of room with the wood blocks. So you still can get these, but they do take up a lot of storage room. So I'm going to show you a couple of examples where they don't have a mounting block like this. Alright, here are some examples of some more modern stamps using that technology that we were talking about to make the stamps very, very, very detailed. I don't know if you can see in the butterflies there. just how, I mean, the etching, the detail is unbelievable on those. And this is how Stampers Anonymous stamps come. And they come on a sheet like this. And basically you peel it off. This has like a film or a coating on it, and this is foam. And so you take this off, and you can use a block. Let me see if I can find one. So you'd use an acrylic block, or you can use a stamp positioner, but it'll stick to that. So then you put it in the ink, and then put it on your project. So it's very easy. So these are rubber stamps that are considered, they're unmounted, but they do, because they're not on a wooden block, but they do have the foam on there, so it has the cushion already, so you get a really good impression when you stamp your image. This is an example of a rubber background stamp, so this is one whole thing, and you can see the detail on there of that as well. You might also see this one and this one are considered to be what they call unweeded. So you have the extra rubber around. So you can either, you know, peel them out of here and take this off completely and just leave the stamps. Or if you want, you can also just leave it. It's personal preference for that. This particular set is from Stampin' Up. So they do theirs a little bit differently. These actually come with the stickers, and you can place, so this is like the thank you. So I'm not going to do it right now, but you would peel this up and you would put the sticker on there and then peel it off of here. So then it would say thank you on the back. Or you can just leave it, because this is coated the same way this is. This is just has printing on here, and it will still stick to your block. So it's not a problem if you don't put the stickers on. It'll still work just fine. So then we have stickers that are unmounted, or not stickers, sorry. We have stamps that are unmounted and they don't have foam on them. So when I first got this one, it's a Katzelkraft Fleurs Silhouettes. Let me just take this out quick. And I just have it on a piece of acetate. But when this came, this did not have the foam on there. It came like this one, which is the Katzelkraft as well. This one's the FLEURISHES. So I remember back when I first got one of these, and I was just like, what do I do with this? Because it's just the rubber sheeting. You know, like, how do I use this? You know, and some people prefer, you know, like people that do mixed media and stuff, they prefer to not have the foam on there, because a lot of times they just use their hand to do the stamping for partial images and things like that. So they might cut these up and then just, you know, use them with their hand. But for me, because I'm going to be using a block or a stamp positioner, I'll show that to you really quick. This is called, this one is a mini Misti, so it's smaller than the bigger one. There's a bigger one than this, but basically you put your paper in here, you put the stamp on this side, and then you close the door. And if you need to do, you know, re-ink it, like you didn't get a full image, you can just keep stamping because your paper is in the same spot. which I really love because I don't trust myself entirely all the time with free hand stamping. But anyway, so I want to be able to use this in my Misti or with the blocks, so I had no idea what to do. And so I researched online and was trying to come up with a solution. And finally I found this Easy Mount Static Cling Mounting Foam. And basically what you do is you peel off one of the sides, you stick it on, and then you cut with scissors around the images, and then you have the stamps like regular, and then it will have a foam backing. So it just depends on personal preference, but again, when I first got these, they did not have the backing. They were like this, so I used this foam so that it'll have a backing and then it'll stick. I will be doing a video about how to apply this exactly and show and go through all the steps on that, but I just wanted to let you know that this type of stamp is out there and what to do if you end up ordering that and then you're like, what do I do? Alright, so next up we are going to do clear stamps. Okay, and I've pulled out a collection of just a bunch of random stamps that I have to show you examples, and so you can see for yourself what's out there. Clear stamps are made out of photopolymer, or can also be made out of acrylic. And there were new technologies in the mid to late 1900s which made clear stamps possible. And they can be made out of silicone, acrylic, or photopolymer. And clear stamps are much cheaper to make than rubber stamps, and they are see-through, which allows for layered stamping. The photopolymer stamps are much higher in quality and give a much better impression than acrylic and silicone stamps. Acrylic and silicone stamps tend to be kind of really floppy and bendy and kind of mushy, so when you go to stamp them, they kind of, and they don't give you a clear impression. One thing I will say is that there are a lot of knockoff stamps, and you might be thinking that you're getting a good deal, when really, when the stamps come, they're not good quality, they don't make a good impression, and chances are the design was probably stolen from a legitimate stamp designer. So just be careful where you're buying your stamps, and try to avoid, those really discount places like Temu and things like that, because a lot of times they are actually stealing other people's work, and then they make a inferior product, and then you get frustrated because it doesn't work, and it's the whole thing. So just anyway, you get what you pay for, and just be mindful of that. But anyway, not to be a Debbie Downer, but so let's go ahead. These clear stamps are awesome because you can see through them. They don't provide as much detail and etching as the rubber stamps, but they are really great. Anyway, I mean, just look at this. Like the design on this. Let's see if I have a paper. And these are great. So, basically with clear stamps, they come on 2 plastic sheets, and they're really sticky. So you peel back the one sheet, and then the stamps are not printed with the detail. The detail stays on here, and then you just stick it on your block, or if you were using Misti, you'd stick it on the door, and then you'd ink it up, And the cool thing is that because you can see through it, you can see if the ink has covered the whole stamp. When you get a new clear stamp, a lot of times it has factory residue on it, so you just want to rub your fingers on it until it turns a little bit cloudy, and it will accept the ink much better. Okay. Oops. I forgot the backing was still on there. Alright, put it underneath there. Okay. And the stamps come in anything you could even imagine. Like this one is holiday and Christmas sentiments, right? So you can get whatever picture styles you're into. You can get whatever sentiments you want, birthday sets, you know, anything like that. This is a clear background stamp. So this is one piece, and this one would be a little difficult to do the block. You'd have to make sure you have a really big block, and you can stick it on there. And in this case, your best bet is to do it face up. So let's pretend this is stuck on here. It's hard to see. And then you would actually ink this up, leave it face up, put the paper on top, and then just rub it from the back, because it's such a large stamp. The other easy thing to do is if you had something like a Misti or a stamp wheel, you'd put this on the door and then put your paper here, and then you can ink the whole thing and stamp it onto the paper. And if you miss any, and with a large stamp a lot of times you will, you can just re-ink it and then do that. There's also stamps that come all in one shot. So like this Gina K, it's called All at Once, All Occasions stamp. And you will find that the packaging for all items is really annoying. But anyway, so this centerpiece is all one stamp, right? You can see that it's not cut. And then a lot of times the designers will have a special die cut that matches. So in this case, the design is all one, and then you would use this and you would cut all these out all at once. So it saves you a lot of time. So you stamp once, cut once, and then you have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 sentiments. So that's another cool thing. And I will go over a future video about what die cutting is. But briefly, this is a piece of metal that will cut the paper, and you need a die cut machine to do that. So it'll press into the paper and cut the paper, and then cut out whatever shape the die is. So because these are clear stamps, it makes it so that you can do layering, which is awesome. So here's an example from Altenew, and these are layering stamps. So you can put down the outline, and then next you can use the fill-in to fill the outline in, and then you would use whatever the matching one is to give the detail to the flower. And because you can see through the stamp, you are able to do that. Here's another example. This one's from Simon Says Stamp and Altenew, from the Rose Bush it's called. But again, you have the outline, the fill-in, detail, and detail, and then you have the outline of the leaves, fill-in, detail, detail. So layering stamps are really awesome. You get so many, you do each layer a different color, and you can mix and match, and it's really great. This one is from Gina K, and it's called Perfect Poinsettia. So this one you have the background solid, and then you have all the inside, the veining and the details. And then on the leaves you have the veining and the background. And then also there's some companies that will offer you all kinds of products to go along with your stamps. So this is a huge set from Altenew. It's called Flutter and Bloom. So it has the florals, it has sentiments, it has butterflies, and this one you can actually get stencils. And so you'd stamp your image, and then you would use the stencils with ink and, you know, an ink brush, and you would use it to color in the images. So it makes it really easy to color in your projects. And then this one even comes with an embossing folder, which I will do a video later on of how to do embossing. But basically this will imprint texture onto your image. So companies are doing quite a lot of really cool things with their stamps, offering you lots of ways to be able to, you know, color your projects, add texture to your projects, all that kind of thing. So there's just some examples of what you can do with clear stamps and what's available out there. Next up, we will be talking about press plates. Alright, so this is a new technology from last year, I believe in 2023. And Spellbinders released a new machine that was called the Better Press machine. And basically what that is that it's a machine that you run through your die cut machine, and it presses an image into paper, and you can either use ink on the image or no ink, but you will get a deep etched look into the paper. Let me see if I can just find to show you. So this is what it looks like. And basically, like, look, I love this one with the webs. So you put this on the platform, and then there's a lid that goes over with the paper, and you can ink this or not. And then when you run it through your die cut machine, it pushes the paper down and it squishes it. So then all these raised edges get pressed into the paper. So if you don't put ink on it, you'll just get the cool detail on the paper. But if you do put ink on it, then you get a really deep etched colored look. So I bring these up under stamps because if we go back to our original definition of stamping, it is putting a mark on an object by pushing into it or printing on it. So this is very similar to doing like, you know, like the wax stamps, or different seals, or, you know, the old printing presses, letterpress, like that. So it's kind of a stamp. I mean, you're using this to put ink onto something else. So that's why I put it under this category. But this has all different kinds of things. This one's different sentiments, and then you can cut them out. This one has gorgeous leaves. You can cut them out. And this allows you, because these are metal, it allows you to stamp and be very, very detailed on your project. These are some from Pink Fresh, so you can get like a ornate frame around that. And then this one is like a bunch of flowers, like dotted petals. And then this leads me into a very cool technology that came out very recently, and that is called stamping foam or stamping blocks. And these are from Simon Hurley, and basically you have this, just kind of looks like a magic eraser actually, but what you do is you heat this with a heat tool and it softens, and what you can do then is, so let's pretend this is heated up, and then you can put it on here and hold it, or on anything that you want to make an imprint of. But then when you take it off, the imprint of this will be etched in here. So then what you do is you ink this. This now acts like a stamp. So you ink this and then put it on your project. So you can make pretty much anything as a stamp by using the stamping foam. You could, I'm just trying to think of something like, what's around here that I could do? Like here's a die cut. So I could do the same thing. If I want to get the old, like this pattern off of it, you just heat it. And then it will disappear and it'll go back to being flat. And then you heat it again, put it on, take it off, and you'll have all of these lines on here, so then I can use this pattern as a stamp. So it's a really cool technology. It's not something you would normally think of, and you might not even know that this exists, but I wanted to bring it up because you use this as a stamp. It's kind of like a make your own stamp. Choose your own adventure. All right. So we went over today lots of information. I hope that this has been helpful to you. We were able to discuss a little bit of the history of rubber and rubber stamping and go through all the different kind of variations of that. We had our clear stamps, and we talked about the layering and all of that. We talked about the press plates and doing that, and then the cool stamping foam. And then also, of course, the old school style stamps. So you have a wide variety of different things out there, different technologies, lots of cool stuff in probably any topic imaginable. So anyway, I will link the items that I showed today in the video description box. I have affiliate links, which means that if you click through them and end up making a purchase, I may make a small commission from that sale at no charge to you. And this really helps out my channel, and I appreciate you shopping through my links. Join me on Facebook, where I post videos and a lot of crafty sales and things like that. Like, subscribe, and all that jazz. And until next time, take care.